This is the Plain English Real Estate Show with your host, Rowena Patton, a show that focuses on the real estate market in terms you can easily understand. Call Rowena now. The number is 240-9962 or 1-800-570-9962. Now here's the English girl in the mountains, the agent that I would trust, Rowena Patton.
Well, thank you for that, Glenn. I say that every week. Well, that's nice. Nice way to be introduced. Today, we are talking about building versus buying, looking at land. What are we talking about? We're talking about the location, and this really runs for anywhere in the country. I know you're listening around the country. What weight does the location carry? That's what we'll cover first. And what kind of charm? So do you want energy efficient? Does historic charm mean a lot to you? What does that look like? How important is the budget? How important do you think a budget might be, Randy?
Very.
Yeah,
Very.
Budget's important for everybody. And the thing that concerns me about people buying bare land that I see, and we help people buy bare land, we sell a lot of bare land, is that often people who are most vulnerable to budget are buying land. And they come in from elsewhere, or they're here, and they're buying a piece of land because they think that land's going away. There's this fallacy that land's going away. There's so much land for sale, guys. And what that means is somebody comes in and buys an acre or two for $30,000, say, or $60,000 or $100,000, doesn't matter. Or they're sold into one of these big developments. Gosh, back in the day, we used to have helicopters and all kinds of parties going on to sell the lots off fast. I was actually involved in one where we put $5,000 down in a parking lot. And that was me putting the $5,000 down. I wasn't one of the, anyway. That development since then has gone bust twice. And it's a fantastic development.
Wow.
There's a lot of lots for sale in there. And it's 300 lots overall, something like that. Almost 300 lots overall. There are so many of those developments around. And, just think carefully about buying that land. We can always find you land. I'm going to go into the budgets. I would love any builders we've got listening today. I would love you to call in because the figures I've got work on $200 a square foot. And we all know it's going to be very hard to build a home at that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I built a home in the mid '80s, and the figure that I think was tossed around then was $75 a foot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. But that's like the interest rate that you had back then, too.
Exactly.
14% was it that you had?
Yeah, that was in 1980. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Amazing. So what we're going to look at is I've got a whole list for you, and you can always reach out to me, 828-333-4483. We've got people standing by 24/7. Just reach out and say you want the list of all the budget figures. I'm going to redo them so they're not based on 200 a square foot, although you can just double it, basically, because you're going to be at 300 or 400. Any of the luxury builders, it may be more than that. And we're also taking the land into account. So I'm going to show you how to look at your entire budget. Here's the thing. I really don't want you to buy a piece of land and think, we're going to build on it at some time in the future, and not think about what your budget might be. It doesn't matter if it's in 20 years' time when you retire or 10 years' time when you retire. What's your vision? If you don't know what you're aimed at, how are you going to get there?
Exactly, a rudderless ship.
Right. We can build you a GPS to get there, basically. But at the very least, without any of that complexity, you know in your mind what kind of dream house that you're thinking about. What does that look like? How big is it? Usually, it's so interesting over the years. Builders, please put a primary bedroom on the main level. It's so hard here and in areas where it's mountainous because, if you're building a home, you can make a lot more money by going up than going out. It's less expensive to go up than go out. But most people want single level. Even young people.
Yeah, I totally understand.
And young people's all comparative, right?
Right. Yes.
Young people used to mean 18 to me. Now young people means 30s.
Yeah, young people.
Young'uns, you.
Me, it used to be me, young
Right. Well, I'm still young person comparatively.
Yes, you are.
Don't you talk about my friend like that, young man. I love that phrase.
I like young man.
Pardon? Oh, I thought you said you liked young men. Oh.
No.
Well, okay then. That's a whole other show, Randy.
Push the beep button here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's taking me off if I'm not careful. So we're going to talk about that whole budget because I want you to come up with your dream home or the minimum of what you'd be happy with. In other words, is it 2-bedroom, 1 bath? Is it 3 bedrooms, 2 baths? And all of you people that, oh my gosh, you guys who are in a 5-bedroom home and it's just you or just you as a couple and you've been holding on to it for 20 years, call in, let us know, 828-240-9962. If you're calling in from Mars, 800-570-9962. I want to know how long you've kept hold of your home and when you wished you'd have let it go. Because I know I talk to you every day. We want that single level. She's got arthritis in her knees and she can't get downstairs. I mean, all these are real stories, guys. I hear it every single day. Just can't be bothered to move, or my interest rate's too good, or whatever it is. Interest rates go up and go down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and hey, we went through a period where that stuff wasn't normal. 1%, 2%. That's not going to last.
Yeah.
You knew that.
7% is actually normal.
Actually normal.
And it's the average over the last 30 years. So 7% is normal. So we're at normal, guys. It might go down a little bit. We'll probably never get to the 2s and 3s. I hope we do. But, chances are we won't. So
yeah, exactly.
Just get on with your lives already. But the most important thing is envision, and that's going to be one of the topics we talk about today, your dream home. For example, mine would be... mine's like I think it's a 60s home or 70s home. I'm not sure when this came in, but it's called a split bedroom plan.
Yeah.
So you have...
but that's the house I built in the mid-'80s.
Right.
Split bedroom. Yeah.
So you have a master suite. Oh, we're not allowed to call it that anymore.
Oh.
You have a owner's suite, which is...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can't say...
Took me a minute.
You can't say master suite anymore.
Yeah.
Oops, I just said it. You better beat me out. So, the beautiful bedroom with the tray ceiling or coffered ceiling or whatever it is that you love, and those details all cost money, right? So here's mine. I'll share mine, and I'd love to hear yours, 828-240-9962. Mine is that lovely bedroom, and if you've got one of these for sale, I'm looking, so for me. So call in too. Tell me about your home that you're thinking about selling. That owner suite with a good bathroom. And what that means these days is a walk-in shower with no hearth, curb. If there's any builders listening, I'm going to be shot. Whatever that thing's curb.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is, yeah.
And you just want to walk in, and nice glass, frameless, of course, walk in, and, some charm in the house. I like beams and white and vaulted ceilings. I guess I'm a girl from the 70s. I grew up in the 70s, so maybe that's why.
Well, that frame construction, beam construction is so attractive. I love it, yeah.
And I love the paint I use in any of the houses I do is Sherwin-Williams Pure White. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful white and against natural wood.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so gorgeous. And then you've got it's like an art museum. You've got a backdrop where you can put color. You can put your beautiful paintings. You can go to TJ Maxx, ladies. Oh, am I being sexist now? Oh, good Lord. All you men out there that like to decorate too, you can go to TJ Maxx in the spring and buy your bright green pillows, throw them on your couch, and then when it gets to summer, make it all tropical. But you've got that white backdrop, and your neutral sofas and your neutral furniture. Wood's really coming back in a big way, as well as in the kitchens. So back to my dream. You can sort of see what my dream home is. So the bedroom that side, and then a big open living space. A kitchen with no walls between the kitchen and the living space. Like, it's so obvious to me. I can see this. With a big bar. And the bar does not have a 10-inch overhang. It has at least a 12-inch overhang. That's important to me. And it doesn't have those big struts underneath that you bang your knees on.
Oh, yes.
There's so many bruises on my neck. I guess I'm a practical girl or something.
I guess you sit at a lot of bars. I didn't say that.
Yeah, you just said that. Oh, my gosh. So, anyway, you threw me off a little bit there. I do not sit at a lot of bars. It's not true. A few, but anyway. So, a nice bar in the kitchen that's counter height. None of these, I've got to clean up my mess in the kitchen. Throw it all in the sink, guys. Yes.
That way to the and the sink's in the bar.
The sink's
Yes.
in the bar.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
yes.
Sorry, in my vision, it's just there, and I
Yeah.
expect everybody just to see this vision. So thank you, Randy. Yeah, the sink's in the bar. And dish drawers. If you don't know what a dish drawer is, go look them up. You've got to have a dish drawer. So dish drawers contain as much as a regular dishwasher. And they're a little bit more expensive. They're outrageously expensive. They're $1,200 to $1,400. You can even pay more than that for it. But I'm telling you, that top drawer, it's deeper than the bottom drawer. It's most of the time it's all you use, even with a family, because it's a drawer. It's not like that big door that you pull down and then you pull the nasty rack out. The drawer works as the rack, basically.
I got you.
So you pull the drawer out, you put your coffee cup in on a normal, traditional dishwasher, and it splashes all over the darn place. And the dog's licking the door, and it's a drawer, so nothing splashes anywhere. You throw it all in, you push it shut, you cannot hear this thing. I'm on my 6th one in different houses. I mean, they're amazing.
Right now, as we speak, my dishwasher is running. I run it every Saturday morning while I'm here with you
While
to
you leave.
to not hear that noise. Yeah.
When if you're in a house and you want to upgrade, there's nothing more special than the dish drawers, I want to tell you. They came from New Zealand originally, and they were white labeled by a number of people. But just like top loaders took a long time to take off in the States, front loaders, excuse me.
The washing machines, yeah.
Yeah, so in Europe and the rest of the world, there's no such thing as a top loader. They're
Really?
all front. Yeah, they've been front loaders
Always
for.
has been front loader, huh?
Oh no, not always, but we moved to that new technology in probably the 60s or 70s.
Oh, it didn't come here till early.
Well, because people were scared of it. Oh, they'll leak, and
Yeah.
I'm not really sure, but anyway, all I'm telling you is, once you go dish drawer, you never go back.
Okay.
So, and the dish drawer also, people are worried about that mess. That's why they build these higher bars instead of the countertop bars. Well, now you don't have any mess because you throw it in it's so easy to throw it in the dish drawer. Many marriages break up because of the dishwasher. I'm not even joking.
Who has the map for where things go in it? She does. She will rearrange everything you put in there.
Oh no. There's so many men who are engineers. See, this is exactly the argument. So I used to teach this thing called the DISC at many different companies, DISC. The D is the dominant driver. The I is the, oh my gosh, I just met you at a party and your hair looks fantastic. How's your grandma? The S is the carer, nurturer, teacher, nurse. And the C is the numbers person. The C's not even at the party because they're at home doing the taxes. Gotcha. And nothing wrong with any of those things, right? And you're usually two of the pillars. Salespeople are usually DIs or IDs. So what you have is a lot of men rearrange how she puts it in there.
Really?
Yeah, it works both ways.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was a one-sided
yeah.
situation.
I actually lived with somebody for a long time who will remain nameless
Yes.
because it'll be very obvious.
We don't want to do that.
Who used to say I stacked the dishwasher in the wrong way. Well, guess what happens when somebody tells you that long enough? Now you're getting marriage guidance. You thought we were talking about building homes today, but this is an important one, guys, because I've looked into it seriously. One of the reasons that people get divorced. And it's all those little things, of course, that nip away at your self-confidence. Whether you're a woman or a man, I'm not, railing for women here at all. But when you're told often enough that you don't stack the dishwasher the right way, guess what happens?
You stop doing it?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And guess what happens when you're the only one that stacks the dishwasher and nobody, because people just dump it in the sink instead. And listen, when you've got a dish drawer, there is nothing hard about putting it in the dishwasher. It's as easy as the sink, except you just got to open it and drop it in because it's higher, right? So if you're older or you've got kids, or it really doesn't matter. These things are genius. There's no reason to not, take it out of the sink and put it in. And then you're the one doing it, male, female, kid, whatever, and then nobody takes it out.
That's another thing. Who empties the dang
Exactly.
thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't know it was clean. And the worst thing is when they stack dirty dishes on top of the ones and then you got to run it all over again.
I live alone. I do that myself sometimes. Whoa, wait a minute. I put a dirty spoon in that.
Do you know how to track that one? use those pods, or it doesn't matter if you got powder or pods. Those pods are darn expensive. Put a pod in when it's dirty.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, when you've run it, the pod or the powder's
It's gone.
away. Yeah, so you know it's clean.
Where does that plastic on those pods go?
It dissolves. Yeah, or if you're really weird, you eat it.
No,
apparently.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids doing that, which is, well, I'm
Bad.
sure they're onto something new now, but whatever, that's a whole other thing. So, the rest of the dream house, we could do, this is really funny, we could do a whole show on Rose Dream House, but the other thing I know from, I'm at 3,600 transactions in this area, and I've bought and sold without being a realtor. That sounds illegal, but it wasn't. In San Diego, in Washington, D.C., in Miami Beach, probably somewhere else I'm not thinking of. And it's all the same. People want a split, it just happens to be my dream home too, but a split bedroom plan with a big open living space. You've got a vaulted ceiling is great. You've got a nice big fireplace on one wall. You've got quartz these days instead of granite. I mean, you can get beautiful granite, but quartz has come so far. And it's antibacterial, and you don't have as many seams, and therefore it's less cleaning and all that stuff that everybody argues about. Oh, my gosh. Get a maid already. Or a... Oh, gosh, that was sexist. What are men maids? Cleaner. Get a cleaner. Whatever.
Cleaner, yeah.
Anyway. We have way too much fun with this, Randy. Do you remember the Christmas with Baby It's Cold Outside when that was banned?
Oh, yeah, we played it.
Do you remember how many times we played it?
A bunch. A bunch.
We're bad. This is Randy, my producer. He's been my producer for so many years. We've been doing this show for 12 years, so
Yeah.
we're bad, Randy.
I know. But people like us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're bad, but people like us. So the kitchen, let's talk about the kitchen for a minute. You probably want the glass at the top if you can afford it in the dream house that you're visualizing, because that is going to set your budget for your house.
You're talking about cabinet doors, glass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's why. Because no one can reach those little cubbies. It's stupid. Right? So either don't put them there, which is fine too, and put some nice modern crown around the top, or put the glass ones at the top and light them. Thereby, all that crap you got from your great-grandmother that you're like, it's kind of cool, but I'll never use it or dare to use it. And it might be that stuff that you feel obliged to keep, or you might love it, but you don't ever want to use it because it's so pretty. Now, quite honestly, I don't believe in that, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
You can put those pretty things up there in nice clear glass and it's lit.
Plate racks. Yeah.
Yeah, well, not plate racks because you can't reach those. I'm talking about a nice piece of pottery.
Oh, okay.
See, I'm so glad you asked those questions because apparently I'm a little obtuse, and other people who are listening might wonder what on earth I'm talking about.
I'm just a man who lives alone, doesn't know what you're talking about.
Well, it might be a nice teapot. Well, I don't have any of this stuff because I learned to let it go. But a nice teapot or a nice piece of pottery or a nice piece of glass or a nice piece of whatever, you never have to dust it again.
It's up there.
It's up there and it's lit, and now you've got something pretty in your kitchen. So make it some kind of feature is my point. And then your normal cupboards, as it were, obviously soft close hinges. If you're remodeling your home, by the way, you can do that for about $50. I just did it in a kitchen. So you can, if you've got European hinges, those are the ones that slot in the little holes on the backs of the doors.
Mm-hmm.
When you close the door and it goes slam.
Yeah.
You can just replace one of those hinges on each door. Little tip there, screw them out. There's a little number on them. That number's very important. How do I know this? I bought the wrong ones.
Oh, wrong number.
Yeah, and doesn't fit. There's a half inch, and it's all about the overlay. But the number is on the thing. It's very easy once you screw it out. But if you don't know to look for the number, you just think, oh, European hinges, I'll buy them on Amazon.
I got you.
So buy the right ones. You can also put and this is where you shut the door and it closes slowly and doesn't go clunk.
Right.
Just one of those nice... any luxury kitchen would have it, right? It would be built like that from scratch.
And the drawer pulls, too.
Full extension. Got to be a full extension.
Yeah.
Unless you've got a very tight budget, of course, and there's other ways to do it. But a full extension doesn't cost that much, and you can switch them out on your drawers.
Okay.
And, of course, you want soft closing drawers, because same thing.
Yeah, I like those.
Yeah, your kids don't shut the drawers, and they're half full. Your spouse doesn't. It's another thing to get mad about.
It really
right?
is.
They're not emptying the dishwasher. They're not filling the dishwasher.
Leaving the
They're
drawers halfway
leaving the drawers
open.
halfway open, throwing the forks in the wrong the wrong area, right? So
We're trained.
all of this helps, but also it just makes your life more peaceful. When the doors aren't slamming, sort of like organization at the best. Your cupboards are organized and your doors aren't slamming. It just makes you feel better.
I agree.
And so that's all open, and it's open to the great room, which might be a smallish great room, but with a vaulted ceiling, it makes it feel much bigger.
Yes.
And then a beautiful fireplace. And here's the thing about the fireplace. Apparently, I'm a little picky, I'm realizing. Build a hearth that you can sit on. All it takes is to move the firebox up.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Don't build it on the floor. Why would you do that? There's nothing better than having and make the hearth go out.
Yeah, I did in this house I built. It was like
I love it. 2 or 3 feet.
Yeah.
And then you can put foot pillows on.
Absolutely. The tools for the fire, all of that. Yeah.
Even though it's probably gas, but who cares? You want your
Exactly.
tools there. I like the pillows so you can sit there, on a nice hearth because otherwise it's chilly.
Yeah.
So here's another little tip: get your pillows first because you can't just go into Pier 1 and get your pillows anymore. Get your pillows, research your pillows, and then build your hearth to fit.
That's cool.
You don't have to build it in or anything, but you've
Right,
got pillows
right.
you can throw in the washing machine or buy new ones where it will actually fit. Because, yes, I learned that from experience too. They just hang over a little bit and it looks tacky, Gosh, I really am picky. I'm just realizing. Screened-in porch. Let's talk about that.
I love them.
Screened-in porch, big area that runs now from your owner's suite or as far as you can afford. And that costs money, especially if it's covered.
Yes.
And again, it's all white inside, and it's got planked and beamed ceiling
A lot of wood out there.
on the cover porch. Yeah, because the wood against the white inside, it's just beautiful. And of course, you got to have another fireplace out there. Just saying.
Oh, yeah. Outdoor fireplace, outdoor kitchen.
Little outdoor kitchen
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they just look fancy, and most of us don't use them. Call in if I'm wrong about that. 828-240-9962. And then on the other side, we're going to have actually this is another expense, but between the main living area, which it comprises the great room and the open kitchen, have a little hallway or something between the main area and the owner's suite. That hallway, you can put floor-length mirrors in, you can put beautiful artwork, but it gives that separation in sound and makes it feel much more private.
In this house that I built, it was across the foyer. There was a foyer.
Yes, there you go.
On the other side of the foyer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could use it, because obviously people really aren't coming in and out in front of your bedroom by the time you're sleeping. So, yeah, there's all kinds of other uses for it as well. And it doesn't take up that much space, so not that much more expense. So now we travel from the owner's suite through to the great room that's all open to the kitchen. And then you've got 2 more bedrooms on the other side.
Exactly. And a bath between them.
Exactly. And you've maybe got a loft bedroom. If it can be ensuite, it's even better, honestly, where they've got their own private bathroom. Nothing wrong with Jack and Jill. But if you've got younger kids, it's nice for them to have their own bathroom so they're not all squabbling with each other and learning to take care of their own space. But again, that's an extra expense. You're right. If you're doing it on a budget, nothing wrong with a Jack and Jill bathroom. Many of us grew up with one of those, or many of us grew up with one bathroom, sharing it with 4 other kids, right?
Right.
Yeah, and all arguing about, I need to go out and I'm not going to be able to get ready on time. So nothing wrong with that. Now, there's ways to build on those basics, obviously, but that's it for me, especially the covered porch. I could live on the covered porch most of the time.
So nice, nice.
Absolutely. So, and we'll look at the costs of that and what it means. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to scoot right down to those costs because I think this is the most important part of today. To really look at this, because so many of you buy bare land, or you're thinking about building and you're going out to the builders, which is fantastic, but I want you to build the land into the budget, because many of you go for a land with amazing views and you're spending $100,000, and I can tell you right now, this is which is quite frankly ridiculous right now, $200 a square foot. So quite frankly, we can double the price. $300 is probably a minimum, and we can go up to $400 a square foot. And we're going to get all this built out for you. I'm basing this on $200, which is about the least you can build for in the country, right? So let's look at it that way. So think about your total budget. What does that mean? How much have you got to spend on the house?
Right.
When you buy a house, usually when it's built already, you're buying the house and the land, right? So when you build land and a house, you're not just looking at the dollar per square foot of the house. You're looking at because you're not comparing like with like. When you buy a house that's already built, the price per square foot that's quoted is taking the value of the land into that. Mm-hmm. When you're looking at it only costs, 300 or 400 a square foot to build a house, you got to buy the land as well.
Right.
So it's going to be more per square foot than that. And then it depends, do you want your square footage to go out or go up? Or down, for that matter. In the mountains, it's often down because we're on a slope, and therefore you can build a basement. And usually that costs you less than the main living area. However, it has less daylight, and less people want that. So, a lot of people want it, but less people, would buy a house with that. It's lower down the priorities, is my point. That's why the basement level square foot is lower than the main level square foot. That's why the upstairs square foot is a bit less than the main level. Because main level is most valuable.
Gotcha. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So basement's usually about half. I'm throwing a figure out. Oh, yeah. So, yes, it may cost you less, but always go in with your exit plan. Most of us don't do that. We're building our dream home. We're never going to leave it. I can tell you, I just helped somebody build a house, their dream home, with a business about 8 years ago, and now they're selling it and moving to 100 acres in a different state. So just remember that dream house that you thought you were building. I just remodeled my dream house 4 years ago and said it was not my dream house, but my forever house. I'm done with this. I'm done with stairs. And then I moved. It happens to the best of us. Okay, so if your budget, for example, is $1 million, let's start at the top end. Now, it might be $2 million or $3 million, but let's say it's $1 million. You don't want your land definitely to be more than 20% of that, but most likely 15% of that.
150 to 200,000.
Exactly. Right, and yet I cannot tell you how many people get wooed by $100,000 lot and we're going to build in it. It's going to be so much more in 5 to 10 years. Well, all I can tell you is this last cycle that has not happened. Has some land gone up? The houses go up way more than the land they're sitting on. The land goes up because it's in a development or it's on some acreage with beautiful views and, it doesn't have things that people don't want next door. You'll know what I mean by that. It's what you don't want next door, right? It might be a house. You might want privacy. But let's talk about neighborhoods for a minute. If you're in a neighborhood that is only partially built out, there's lots of them that are only 15% built out, then there's lots of land left. That land sits there. People had all these dreams. It was sold to them with helicopters and, wonderful things in the development in the first place. And people are back in. Remember, many people here and around the country. I train agents all around the country. We have the Cash CPO program that people are part of and run with us all around the country. And I hear this all the time. People that are coming in, right, to the area, wherever your area is, this is almost every area, 60 to 80% of them are coming in from elsewhere. So the helicopters come out for the development, the champagne, the shrimp, all that stuff. The clubhouse has been built, so you can get these wonderful views. There's all these wonderful drawings and plans built. And you buy that $100,000 lot. But nobody says, when you build, and it's going to be a lot more than that, I hate to tell you, do you have $1 million to spend? Because, to make it part of that
subdivision,
you're going to have to spend that. Or to make it of value, because when you go to sell the house, if you're spending $100,000 and you think you're putting here's my point. You think you're putting a $300,000 house on there? No, ain't going to happen.
No, probably restrictions in the subdivision.
Exactly.
Mandate that. Yeah.
That will mandate it. The fact that you're going to be spending $300 to $400 a square foot is going to mandate it. And you want to be able to sell it whereby that $100,000. Okay, so you put. A lot of people go, it's only going to cost me. They look online, they see these builder plans, and it'll only cost me 250 or 300, or I'm going to put a modular home on there. Good luck with that. Even the beautiful modular homes that you see, I've had them quoted out at $450,000. Right? So you don't want to be putting a $500,000 house on a $100,000 lot, because that isn't the 10 to 20% of the value.
Right.
It's like living, and there's nothing wrong with this. It's like living in a shed and parking your Lamborghini outside.
Very good description.
Right? It doesn't make any sense, especially when you go to sell it, and you may want to at some point. And here's the problem with those developments where lots of people were sold and they bought those $100,000 lots, and nobody was honest and said, what's your budget? Start with the end in mind. What's your budget? If your budget is $300,000, for example, then you've got $10,000 for your lot. Here's why. I want you to build in $40,000 for improvements. Now, in a development, it's not going to be as much. If you are building outside of a development, you maybe you need a perk test. Maybe you need a septic system. Maybe you need water, sewer, exactly, driveway. Yeah, you got to take trees down. Yeah. You're going to be spending $2,000 a piece to take a big tree down. Oh. Right, so you could be $10,000 in. We don't know how far down we're going to be drilling for the well.
Right.
So I want you to build in $40,000, and that's across the board if you're outside a development. Now, even if you're inside a development, especially on bigger lots, you're going to want landscaping.
Of course.
I just moved out of a development where the couple that moved from Florida spent $150,000 on an acre lot landscaping it.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it's shocking. Now, they did put a small pool in, which is sort of odd because the neighborhood has a pool, but whatever. Especially here, because how many days do you get in the pool?
Yeah.
Just saying. Oh, it's me being all judgy, isn't it?
Well,
but it's important to remember. You know, you don't think they always say when you have a house quoted out, add 20% because it's going to cost more, because you keep you get all excited about building your house. You've been dreaming about this for 10 years, and like me, I then say to the builder, that space that is between the owner suite and the great room, can we put a hallway in there? And I want it, I wanted like a little mini coffered ceiling that runs down the stretch of it, and a wall of mirror maybe, or, ooh, that's gruesome, that's really 70s. But, I'm picturing it now, it's all white, and it's got big, deep, high baseboards, and it's like my art museum, and it's got colourful pictures, oil prints all the way along. How cool would that be to get up to?
But that's a change on the building plan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And those add up.
So if that's 4 feet wide by 20 feet long, say.
That's 80 square feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
80 square feet.
Times.
Yeah, even.
300.
Uh-huh. 300 probably.
Yeah.
That's, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's $25,000 or thereabouts.
Yeah.
Just to add my little
hallway,
yeah. And how many more of those little things add up, of course. And I'm not putting you off building at all. I think, so if you have the money to do it, just look at your budget and hone in on your beautiful built home and choose the things you really want. Like for me, it would be a covered porch. That's above everything.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Now, I'm not saying I'll live in a shed with a covered porch. However, I would take off all of the other wonderful things. You got to put your priorities first, right? That's why you start with the end in mind, and what do all those things cost? So if your budget, say, is about $500,000, then you've got $40,000 for your lot. I'll share all the calculators with you based on this. Just look me up you can find me all over the place. Rowena Patton, All-Star Powerhouse, ROWENA. Patton. If you haven't been listening for the last 12 years, I'm not getting on you at all. In fact, you can go to realestatenewsradio.com. All the contact buttons, the phone numbers, everything are on there. realestatenewsradio.com. I will send you this list and the calculator. Start with the end in mind. I've built lots of houses. I've remodeled even more. I've done 42, 43 at this point. Doesn't mean to say I'm the expert on it by any means, but I will have lots of ideas for you. And that's the problem when you start thinking about your dream home. Your friends go, did you think about this? And you're like, oh, that's a cool idea. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did you think about the toilet that washes you with warm water?
Or those
that's a good idea.
Triangular shaped windows that go up in the eaves of the
Yeah.
They're
Oh,
expensive.
like
yeah.
the A-frame piece that have the
Yeah,
windows in it. Yeah. So have you thought about, oh, look at the picture of the one I built 10 years ago. And you're like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. How about real stone instead of manufactured stone?
Oh, yeah.
That's a thing of mine. Not the manufactured stone, the other one. So, you don't know what you're going to be thinking of. So start with the end in mind and then really do your research first. So here's the thing. Lots of these people who have a budget of $400,000 or $500,000 are spending 70 to 100 to 150 on the lot. It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
Unless you just don't care and you don't care about an exit plan. And that's how a lot of people feel, oh, it doesn't matter because this is going to be my forever home. I can tell you, I'm selling lots of your lots, and they sit there and then somebody else buys them with a dream. Some of you have had them for 20 years. Some of you have had them in the family for a long time. Maybe your parents passed and you kept the land, or here it's big farmland that was broken up between the siblings and you've all kept it. And for many of you, that's been an amazing thing, except the siblings all then fight about the land, Just make sure when you buy that land, you've got the end in mind, i.e. what's your dream home that you're going to put on the land? Or maybe you're farming the land. That's fine too. What is it you're going to be doing with it? What's the highest and best use of that land? And, what's the calculator to go through that? And I can help you with that. If you're just buying a lot for now, nothing wrong with that, and you want to hold it because you're like, oh, the land's going away. First of all, it isn't. I can find you plenty of land, trust me. And lots of people who are reselling the land because if it's in an HOA, they get fed up of the HOA fees.
Right.
They get fed up of the taxes. And I have lots in development. I used to represent a dozen different developments around the mountains. And my background is marketing, so they wanted all the marketing experience in there. And I sold a lot of land, and now I'm reselling it, sometimes twice.
And it's just sat there for 20 years.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I'm very open and honest and have, blog posts out there showing you how to build all this pricing. But I will sit down with you, with your builder, and we can go through the kind of land you want. It makes more sense to do it that way because your total budget gives you the price of the lot that you're going to buy. Now, can you spend 10 or 20 grand more? Absolutely. Can you spend 100 grand more? Have at it, but know what you're getting yourself into. Go in eyes wide open. Because if you buy that lot at $100,000, unless you're building $1 million house, or $750 house and up, then it's going to be a hard resell because a very small percentage, very fortunate percentage of the population can afford to buy that lot next time and build their big, beautiful home. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
Most people can spend up to $400 on a home. That's 80% of people, if not higher than that. That's it. So if you're, let's say, I'm not talking about building a home. I'm talking about in a home that's already there. So these days, that's going to give you a home, if you build one, that is maybe, if you're lucky, 1,100 square feet, and the price of your lot is $20,000. People are always outraged by that. But go in with eyes wide open. That doesn't, so you've got $40,000 for improvements. Maybe we can cut down on that if it's in a development. But, most of the lots are that price if you're building in a development, and much higher, especially if you want the view lots. Most people come here for the views. So I really want you to think about that. Okay, let's look at some other considerations. I went right to the end with the calculator. And if you'd like that calculator and you're thinking about building a land, here's our next book, I think. Then, that it's really important to look at it in that way and what the considerations are. We've got all kinds of checklists and questions and things to go through that might give you ideas. It's not just as simple as buying the, ideal home book, which, we all look at that too. I get it. And all the home magazines.
Right.
It's ideas start with the layout. Nothing else matters. What's the layout? What's the floor plan? All the fancy, lovely stuff, that's all the stuff that costs money, and we can do the budget on that. But do you want a split bedroom plan, for example? A lot of people don't even think about that. Do you want to be next to your guests when they come and stay with you? Do you want to be next to your kids if you've still got kids at home?
Yeah.
Or do you want your office right next to your bedroom? Or do you want to get away from it at the other end of the house? Maybe, so if you've got a split bedroom plan and you're in the owner's suite, you're going across your living area into one of the offices, if you really even need one these days. I'd be sitting at the bar top annoying everybody.
Out on that covered porch with
Just
a laptop.
when it's warm enough, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, think about the floor plan, and then we can fancy it up and put the money on it later. So people think I should talk better than that because I've got an English accent. But, anyway, my dad built his house actually 3 times.
Wow.
He didn't know what he was doing, but he built the house.
He learned every time.
Yeah, he learned piece by piece. Maybe that's why I've done 43 remodels at this point.
Got it right now.
Yeah, I got. I don't have the bug anymore. I never want to do it again. I'm building my next one. Okay, so location. Do you want to? And this is whether you're buying a house or building a house. It doesn't matter. I used to call it the martini test, and people got upset, especially as they're changing the laws now. So let's call it the pint of milk test. When you drive up the mountain to your beautiful isolation, in the country, you're all isolated, you've got these beautiful views. If you run out of milk, are you okay? So it's getting, it's winter time, so it's 5 o'clock, it's getting dark. Are you okay driving back to the store? Think really hard and fast about that.
Think really hard and fast about that.
That's why a lot of people end up selling their homes with me, which is like, we're tired of the drive.
And they live there a year and they can't get pizza delivery or internet service.
Right, thank you. So internet service is another one, although that's getting a lot easier these days.
Yes.
Delivery is a big one. So here's the funny thing. I don't do a whole lot of delivery, and I like to know that it's there. What if you're sick, or, I don't know, even selling your house, the ability to get delivery is going to up the value of your house. Period, the end.
I had COVID for 3 weeks, and delivery from grocery stores and restaurants was life-saving.
Yes.
It really was.
Yeah. I'm staying in a friend's home right now, and she loves to get delivery from Fresh Market and Publix. It is fantastic.
Instacart. I love it.
So it comes in this brown paper bag. It lands on your doorstep. It's fantastic.
You got the Ring doorbell that tells you can see the guy sit the thing on the porch. You go get your food.
Yeah, and if you're busy and it costs very little, and you got to look at. I think it's like $6 or $10 on average. Like people are like, I'm not paying that for someone to bring my groceries. How much do you think you spend in gas to get to the store?
There are times when you need that, and it's really so convenient.
Yeah, and it's funny. I had a lunch conversation yesterday with an old friend. And a young man that works for him who's 30 years old. He seemed really young, realizing 30 is really not that young. But I was talking to them about the value of time. There's nothing more valuable than time. And you only really, for most people, they start realizing that when they get older, how valuable your time is. You can't get it back.
No.
There's no diamonds or beautiful houses or vacations or anything else that can replace your time.
Amen.
So, there's nothing more valuable than that.
Spend it wisely.
Yeah, and if you like grocery shopping, that's great. Go grocery shopping.
I got to go after this show.
Yeah, I guess you don't. Why? You don't get delivery?
I'm thinking about it.
There you go.
I really am.
There you go. So location is really, really, really important. I was actually about to buy a house that I was remodeling. The cost to is basically I may as well build a new one. Unfortunately, so I pulled out of that one, which is a rare thing for me. I like a challenge. And I realized there was only one house next to it. And I'm used to being in a neighborhood. I don't want to be right on top of the house next door. But I realized that living on my own, maybe I didn't want to. And it wasn't very far out or anything. But I realized, do I really want that? I hadn't even considered that before. So do you want people around? How close do you want them, in a perfect world? Do you want to be in a historic area? Do you want to be a new owner? Do you want a new home? Do you want to build a new home in a historic area and building historic features?
There's a lot of things to think about in building a new home. When there's no window dressings when you move into a new home.
Yeah.
That's an expensive thing. Blinds, curtains, draperies, rods, etc. Yeah.
Window dressings are super out.
A what?
Window dressings, they've gone out of style. And a lot of times you have the electric blinds now that come down, and or most of the time in windows you can't see in unless you put the light on. Obviously at night or something, and then streak in front of the neighbours. That's a whole other story. So if you like to streak in front of the neighbours, we can find the house for you. Budget, obviously, we covered that one. Obviously, the budget is very, very important. That's where you start. And you may say to me, I don't know what my budget's going to be in 10 years' time. Here's the truth. It's not going to be so different to what it is now for most people.
More, but...
Well, it's going to be
not
more
a lot
because,
different.
we may have had a lot of inflation. I mean, look at what's happened in the last 10 years in terms of
Right.
building costs. I didn't write this that long ago. I wonder if it's got a date on it. And I had it at 200 because I was trying to go for the lowest possible because I don't want people to say, hey, we can build it for 250 or 300 or whatever, which some builders can, which is amazing. And there are ways to do that, especially in different areas of the country. So I wanted to, produce all of this calculator based on that. I am literally going to build a calculator, because I'm techie like that put where you can plug in the price per square foot that tells you what your land should be. It spits it out.
That's a great idea.
So if it spits it out at 40,000 for the land, it doesn't matter if you go a bit over or obviously a bit under, but look for those features that you want because location, location, location. If you want views, there might only be one piece of land that comes up for that. If you want water, we've got to be careful with that one. There aren't going to be many that come up with that. I want so many people for $20,000 want long-range views and, I don't know, rushing Bold Creek and, yeah. Good luck. And then we think about the site prep. You could plug the site prep in. Also, whether it has a septic and what you should consider for that. We can still, it's going to be $10,000, $15,000 and even upwards if it doesn't perk. Then you're out of luck too, right?
Right.
That's why I advise many people to look for mobile homes that are manufactured homes that are older, that have little value, because you've usually got a septic, you've usually got a well, all that infrastructure is in place.
Yes.
Go build your beautiful new home. A lot of areas of transition to much more expensive homes makes it a very easy way. The land has all been cleared. Sometimes they have incredible views.
Smart.
Yeah, right. So wells at, 6,500, 10,000, 150 feet, but how many feet's it going to be?
That's a crapshoot. You
Exactly.
don't know. Yeah.
And I've seen them as low as $2,000 or $3,000, because you hit it right away. Very unlikely, but you got to build the well infrastructure in. That doesn't even buy the motor. What kind of motor do you want? Is it the pump and is it solar powered and yada yada yada? So $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 at least for the well, because it depends on how deep you've got to drill, right? So it's not. People go, I want a $30,000 piece of land with no restrictions, and I'm going to put my mobile in because they find these mobile homes that are $85,000 for a single wide. And they're thinking, here I'm at $100,000. No, you've got the site prep. You've got...
Done.
Yeah, exactly. And, of course, at the higher end, you've got to be really careful what's around you because even though you think it's your forever home, it might not be. And it will annoy you for the same reason that somebody else hasn't bought that for the last 10 years. Pricing it, so we have a lot of wonderful builders here. What I love about builders here is that they tend to be custom builders. Now, does that make it a little more expensive? Sure. But we're talking about building your dream home, right?
Yeah. And so, out the window.
Exactly. We are going to get a builder on the show to go through with you. I'm in discussions with him on that right now. And... what are you laughing at, Randy?
Nothing.
Randy knows all my stories, and I know all his stories. And, So, we'll go over this in detail and what it means, and we'll have a lively discussion on that. And also, what I'd love to talk to a builder about, honestly, is talking about what are the things where people make mistakes. Where do they see, that there's been a lot of mistakes made where people maybe didn't see that in the first place. And when you've been building for a really long time, all of those things. And at the same time, you maybe don't, just like I don't, because in my mind, I know, because I've been doing this so long, that people who want a house are asking for a 2-car garage or 3-car garage on the main, depending on budget, obviously. Let's do basic budget. 2-car garage on the main, open living plan, split bedroom plan, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. It's that simple. That's what people ask for.
That's the house I built in the mid-'80s I'm telling you about. Exactly.
Number one is the owner's suite on the main, right? That's the number one requirement, whether they're building buying a resale or building a home. Number one requirement, right?
Master on the main.
Yes, absolutely. And if you want to see one of the companies, I'll give a shout out to BK Construction. They were voted the number one in Asheville, I believe. They're featured on House. They've just got the best gallery. I've been stalking the gallery. It's amazing, and they just have the best pictures in there. I've got to find my favorite one. I think it's the Brush Creek. So this is, just go to BK Construction Company. Is it the Brush Creek? It's got this beautiful kitchen. Oh, now it's making me sign in. Go away. It's gorgeous. So it's all. The funny thing is, it's all white. It's got the wood beams. I didn't even notice this before. It's got the covered porch with the panelled ceiling. Actually, it must have all, put this in my brain or something. It's absolutely gorgeous. You have to go see this. BK Construction. Click on Brush Creek. It's gorgeous. It's got. It looks like it's got natural wood floors. If you have lots of dogs or something, or kids, or I don't know, a spouse that stomps around the house, then you might want look at luxury vinyl plank for that. They have about 40 colours in that now, and it looks like wood, and it's indestructible. Buy the good stuff. I'm going to tell you all about that too. This house is gorgeous. It's got beautiful decks. Whomever the owners are very lucky. BK Construction, they're one of the great builders in town, and maybe we can get them on to talk about home building. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
Because building a home is one of the most special things you can do in your life. You know me, I want everybody to go in eyes wide open and know what the costs are going to be, inside and out. Start with the end in mind, and then we'll go all through what that means. So here's another question. How soon do you want to move in? So, for example, Horton builds homes that they've come in this market. They build homes. So if you're looking in, for example, Charlotte or Atlanta or any of the flatlands anywhere in the country, the big home builders build on big tracts. They build, there's 300 lots, 600 lots, and they build 6 different types of homes. They're usually vinyl. And they offer you, so you've got 6 different plans you can choose from, depending on your budget, obviously. Most of it's vinyl all the way around the back. And then you can spend a bit more and use usually manufactured stone on the front to give it a bit of pizzazz. It's like our 70s neighborhoods really here.
Yeah, the Windsor Company used to do that.
Same thing, they still do. Yeah, they still do.
Still do.
So there's home builders that have come into the market here where you can, get a small, modest home at $500 that's a brand new home. Now, you're on a very small lot, obviously, and you've got HOA fees. So it's just, where's your budget? What is it that you want to do? Would you rather, if you take the price of that, you could probably have something bigger than a tiny home. Do you want to give up that space for the luxury of a custom-built home?
Good question.
And I'd love to get any of the builders on to talk about that. What does it look like? If we're not going for a tract home, if we're going for our forever home, that's amazing. What the big home builders that are coming in that are building these tract homes, it's going to hurt our prices because there's a lot of people in these 70s neighborhoods that are trying to sell the home for $500,000, and now you can buy that. Now, do they have as much character? Yada yada yada. No, but you can buy a new home for $500,000. So you got to be careful with that. I hope you enjoyed the show today, guys. You'll have it podcast very soon at realestatenewsradio.com, Get hold of me on there. I'll send you the calculator on building. See you on the radio next week.
This has been the Plain English Real Estate Show with Rowena Patton. Visit Rowena and post your questions at radioasheville.com or call her at 828-210-1648.